When there's trouble, you know who to call. With their powers, they can save them all. Hello, I'm Fitz.
And I'm Russell. We're the Crunchy Duck Gamers.
Today, we are going to continue our Mass Effect series with a glass of red wine.
Oh, classy. I'm drinking chocolate milk, and Fitz is drinking red wine.
Yeah, and we're going to be discussing Mass Effect 3.
Woo, yeah, we're going to finish off Mass Effect 3, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our hopes and dreams for Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, so let's talk about the plot of Mass Effect 3.
Oh, man.
Honestly, the plot of Mass Effect 3, it starts out pretty, for me, like, I thought it started out pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's strong. The plot is until the very end. Like, the very, very, very end. No, I haven't played the director's cut, which I don't know. I don't plan on it.
It honestly, the director's cut, it doesn't add much. It changes the last cutscene, depending on which choice you pick. But up until then, not much is changed.
Okay, but yeah, a lot of the missions that happen when you're gathering an army, you're curing the genophage, you're destroying the Reapers with your Hammer of the Gods. Oh wait, that's the wrong game.
That's Gears of
Duty. No, up to that point, I loved it. All the side missions you could go on, even with Jacob. You know how I feel about Jacob.
Jacob, our least favorite character in Mass Effect.
And the one with Miranda, I love that.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, I think the story, there's definitely a lot more weight to it than there has been in the past. Because it's, instead of trying to figure out what the Reapers are doing, I guess what the Reapers are here. Let's stop them.
Absolutely.
Let's stop all these giant space squid. And it's kind of absolutely terrifying because there's not a lot you can do.
Nope, you pretty much let's gather this huge army. It's probably going to fail.
Yeah, let's gather this huge army, and oh wait, there's a Reaper. Let's run away.
Let's see. Oh wait, the Citadel's actually a weapon left by the Protheans. How the hell do we use that?
Yeah, what's this next plot MacGuffin, which I don't remember what it is. Yeah, so you start out in Earth, and then the Reapers attack, and guess what? They mess up Vancouver. Discover that there's a Prothean super weapon that can link up with the Citadel to destroy the Reapers, and the plot starts from there. And it's like you have to find that, and then build an army and romance your crewmates.
Here's to romancing your crewmates and wine.
And I ran out of chocolate milk. I drank that a little too fast.
I drank this wine a little too fast. I feel great.
And yeah, I mean, the plot definitely has a lot more weight, and then you discover all the species that you've come to know and love are getting absolutely crushed.
Yep, absolutely crushed. Like everything is dying.
Everything is dying, and then what's worse is that species that have been wiped out, the Reapers are actually using their bodies as cannon fodder.
Yep.
And pretty much they're coming back as space zombies, which I thought was absolutely grotesque and horrifying.
Oh yeah, I've also found that horrifying. I'm just I'm fighting indoctrinated versions of
the Baterans. Yeah, the Baterans, which is kind of like a subrace. Their entire species gets wiped out, even before the events of the game. So you come across their corpses that have been kind of mangled and mashed together, and it's just oh, I'm so sorry, you poor little genocided race. And it's please stop attacking me with such fierce, because the game's hard.
The end of the game is very hard, and most of the game's actually pretty hard. One thing I enjoy is a lot of the characters that you encounter in all three games, how their character arcs fully develop. If you have if you chose to keep Ashley alive or Caden alive, how they develop, how they respond to you now, which is completely different from how they responded to you in the first game. But depending on who's alive at the end of your campaign in the second one, how they react to you now.
So I also just found out that if you have the DLC for Mass Effect 2, one of the things that happens is that you actually choose to destroy the Baterans. You destroy their Mass Effect relay, and essentially killing a whole bunch of Bateran colonists. And that's why you get sent back to Earth, and the Normandy is impounded.
I don't know if I played that DLC.
Yeah, I actually never played any of the DLC, which I think is my own fault.
Yeah, that is your fault. It's also BioWare's fault for making that like such like an integral part of the story.
Yeah, well, they also they did the thing where it's like, here's all this DLC that cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's very true. Like Shadow Broker at the end of Mass Effect 2, that's an excellent DLC. I know you haven't played it, but if you still have your 360, you should.
Well, I have all of it for the PC, so I'll probably just buy it off of Origin. Anyway, so back to the plot. And the character arcs. But yeah, just characters that have been with you since the beginning. You get to see their plots finish up, and even characters who have been with you since Mass Effect 2, if they survived. Mm-hmm. Their plotline finishes up like Mordin Solus, who cures.
Yes, Mordin Solus,
the
Solarian, the musical Solarian.
He sacrifices himself to cure the genophage, and it's just like, oh, all right, game, thanks for making me feel.
And it's like, Mordin, like, couldn't you live and cure the genophage? Like, why'd you have to cure it right there?
Yeah, I think I definitely enjoy the darker tone in Mass Effect 3. All the way up into the end.
The very, very end.
Very end. I mean, it's very much like you are in a state of war, and your friends and allies are crumbling around you, and some of them are even being turned, like the Asaris.
Oh yeah, the Asaris turning into the Banshees.
They become the Banshees, one of the most terrifying and obnoxious enemies.
I hate the Banshees, especially at the end. Where I'm shooting and then I run out of ammo because there's so many of them and they take so much to kill.
At the end, where the game takes every single enemy it has and throws it at you at once.
Yeah.
That's the final boss fight, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then there's Marauder Shields.
Yeah, we all heard of Marauder Shields jokes before. And, they're old, but, seriously, Marauder Shields. You shoot the Marauder Shields, and that's the final boss.
Yeah. And then after that, it's a very long cutscene.
Very long cutscene. It's a very good cutscene, I think. You have some very good conversations once you're inside that Reaper.
Yeah, and you learn a lot. Like, you find out that the elusive man has been indoctrinated, and he is now very much a bad guy. And
he's also a bad guy, but he's also working like to benefit you, isn't he?
Yeah, like he's trying to save the human race, but he's doing it in a way that you're not happy with by trying to control the Reapers, but the Reapers are actually controlling him.
Well, yeah, you're trying to control the Reapers, and that just doesn't seem like a very viable option, and it turns out to be a viable option in the end, which doesn't really make that much sense. Because if the Reapers are controlling him and want to make me think it's a viable option, and it turns out to actually be a viable option.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of the end, that's one of the problems with Mass Effect 3 is the ending. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that, it spends a lot of time, 3 games worth of storylines building up to this grand showdown, and it seemingly collapses within a much shorter amount of time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really get the ending it deserves. It's not a warm, fuzzy conclusion. It's not a sad conclusion. It's just kind of like, what the heck, man?
Well, yeah, because there is no conclusion. You're not really sure what happens at the end. Like, I chose to destroy them all. I chose the renegade ending, and I got a cutscene. I just am rewarded of some guy's hand coming out of a ship, which I'm assuming it was Joker's arm because it looked like Joker's arm.
Yeah, it is Joker's
arm. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and that's one of the endings. And then you find out in the DLC that like the Mass Effect relays actually got damaged, not destroyed. So they're able to rebuild them, because of the Shepherd sacrifice.
Yeah, Shepherd sacrifice.
And they added another ending, which is what I did first. When you get to the catalyst, you get to the Ghost Child. You actually have the option in the director's cut to shoot the Ghost Child, and what happens is that the Reapers actually kill everyone this go around, and then the next galactic cycle, they destroy the Reapers, and then there's the legacy of the Shepherd.
Okay, that's kind of lame.
Yeah,
that's very lame.
Unfortunately, like with Mass Effect, it's such a shame that there really is no good ending.
There is no good ending, and that's one of the issues with these pick your own ending trilogies, or just in general pick your own ending games or pick your own journey games. A lot of times the ending's very bland because
it's trying to cater to all the different stories.
Yeah, it's trying to cater to everyone, And it works in like Dragon Age because they have like one big conclusive ending with small variants. Whereas with a big trilogy like Mass Effect, like in order to end it correctly, everyone would have probably had to have their own endings. They probably would have had them in like 52 different endings based on all the decisions everyone's made, because it was a whole trilogy of games. And they decided, you know what, we can tie it all up with 3 in a very cryptic ending, but it didn't work.
Yeah, and when I was playing through the series, I was really engrossed in it and really loved it. And usually, whenever I beat a game of this caliber, I'm stuck in the world and I want to keep exploring it. But the ending to Mass Effect, I did 2 endings. I did the kill everything ending and then the shoot the ghost child ending. And those endings were so much of a letdown that it ticked me off, and I left the world and haven't really gone back to it since. Just because
there really hasn't been much to go back to.
Yeah, it was a letdown. Eventually, I'm gonna get all the DLC and do the Renegade ending and kill everything. But it pushed me out of the world, which I think is a shame. Like, I've never been so mad at a video game or a video game storyline since with Mass Effect 3.
I knew what I was expecting because I played it after. I played Mass Effect 3 after everyone else. And I knew I was expecting a bad ending. And it didn't disappoint, but it did disappoint at the same time.
Yeah, for me, it was one of those things, like, because I played it, I think, way after you. And everyone kept telling me it was a bad ending. And I'm like, oh, sure, it can't be that bad, until I watched it. And then it was just like, oh my God, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like the RoboCop reboot. Everyone kept telling me it was bad until I watched it. And I went, yeah, that is bad.
Okay. All right, Russell, question for you.
Yeah.
Favorite character in Mass Effect 3?
Thane. Hands down, Thane. You got him killed off in your run through.
Not on purpose.
But not on purpose. If you don't upgrade your ship in Mass Effect 2, people die.
That's true.
But in Thane in Mass Effect 3, he can't join your squad. He's actually dying. And I love his story arc conclusion, because he asked you, if you choose the Paragon, to stay with him while he passes. And it's just a very sweet, very emotional scene. Remember, I was texting Fitz as it was happening. It was like, Fitz, this is what happens. I'm not okay with this. And I think he texted back like, sad face. And you're like, oh, my heart. Yeah, Thane definitely is my favorite character out of the Mass Effect trilogy. And 3. What about you, Fitz?
Well, I'm going to answer. She is my favorite character in the Mass Effect trilogy and in 3. Liara T'Sone.
Yeah, T'Sone or T'Sone.
Oh, yeah, whatever. However you pronounce it, I don't care.
So Liara T'Sone, or Liara.
Yeah, Liara.
Her name?
Because I think she has the most complete story arc of all the characters. Because you find her in the first game, and she's all sweet, she's all innocent, and after the events of the first game, after you die, after she fights her mother out in the first game, she becomes hard, she becomes cold, and she becomes obsessed with finding the Shadow Broker, finding and destroying the Shadow Broker. And then in the DLC, she finds him and destroys him, and then she becomes the Shadow Broker. And in the third game, you see a combination of first 2 characters you saw. You see the sweet girl, but she now has like a strong backbone. She now can stand up for herself. She can be the Shadow Broker while also being the Asari she really is. And that's a kind, sweet person. Asari. Alien. Talking about people in Asari is very hard.
Yeah, talking about fictional species that don't really exist to our knowledge. I would say she's a person.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that's limited to just humanity.
It just in our reality, we can only attribute it to ourselves. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has. I think she has the most complete story arc. I just think she has the most real character, the most realistic character, as realistic character you can get in, a sci-fi game.
One might say the most human.
Yeah, the most human character. And just like the resulting romance scene at the end of Mass Effect 3, if you choose to romance Liara. I found that so touching. I found that like so real that I could attribute it to my real life relationships.
Definitely, Liara would be. Actually, I'm tied between Liara and Tali. Tali, I just relate to Tali because I'm a very techno savvy person, and she was also very useful as a squad mate in all the games.
You know, Tali, I love Tali too. She's my second favorite character. I wanted to romance her, but I was like, am I going to kill you? Like,
yeah, your species is kind of vulnerable to the rest of the world.
So like, I don't know. You know what? We're good friends, Tali. We're good friends. Good friends can't kill each other, right?
All right, so the gameplay of Mass Effect. Fitz, what are your thoughts?
Mass Effect 3.
For Mass Effect 3.
You know, just tiny improvements from the second one. I think the second one is like because we're looking at it as a third-person shooter.
Third-person shooter that dabbles in RPG elements at this point.
That's what this game is.
Pretty heavily in RPG elements in Mass Effect 3.
More heavily than Mass Effect 2. Small improvements. I think the controls are tighter, moves more smoothly. It's also much harder than Mass Effect 2, I believe, as I experienced.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I think as the game, like it's the out of the entire series, it has the best gameplay. Definitely, it has evolved to a point where it's a great mix of the third-person shooter with RPG elements, and they added more and more RPG elements into the game.
And you know, I'm glad of that because you know we talk about RPGs here mostly.
Yeah, it's also RPGs. You know, you invest more, I think, with your character in RPGs because it's not just the story. You're also thinking, how does this character interact and how you're going to build it to take on the world, or build this character to take on the world.
You know, like you're building this character, and you know, with RPGs, like you put a lot of yourself into an RPG character, and I definitely had a lot of myself in Shepard.
One of the downsides, though, is that it was much harder than the other games because it's you versus the universe. So yeah, Fitz, you ran into the issue where like you ran out of ammo a lot.
Well,
right?
yeah, I ran out, like, especially when I was fighting Banshees. Actually, exclusively when I was fighting Banshees. Because they just took so many bullets to kill. I don't know if I was missing something, like, but, you know, I eventually killed them all. I eventually got to the end, and it wasn't hard in a good way. I would say most of the time it was hard in a good way. It was a challenge. I had to, like, think about what I was doing. But sometimes, like, you know, when you're at the end of Mass Effect 3, it's hard in a bad way. It's hard in a very bad way. And it wasn't a final boss. It was, here are some of the hardest enemies you will face in this game. And they're all right here in this little area. Kill them. Do it.
Yeah.
Your squad mates are useless, just like they are in the entirety of the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's because I was on the PC version that had the director's cut. I got really lucky, and I never had a problem with ammo. Mostly because every time I came across the Banshee, I mean, part of my soul ran away scared. But I was always like, okay, Banshees have, you know, this type of shielding. Well, let me, you know, since playing as a soldier, you could have the different ammo types and then having the different squad mates with different abilities. It was like, okay, let's just get rid of the biotic thing, and then the biotic shielding, then it's just covered in armor, so I threw fire damage at it.
Okay. You see, I don't think I ever picked up on that. I just shot. I just kept shooting.
See, I got stuck in I think the loading screens a lot, where they kept giving me hints of like armor, you know, use fire to get rid of armor. So every time I came across an enemy, I had to do that quick, you know, battle analysis of what is this, what are its weak points, can I just perforate it, or do I have to, you know, use some strategy here? Most of the time, I just shot things.
To cap our discussion on Mass Effect, the series, just, you know, 1, 2, and 3, rank the Mass Effect games from least favorite to favorite.
Least favorite, I would do Mass Effect 2. It's just all side quests. And then Mass Effect 1. And then my unpopular choice of Mass Effect 3 being my most favorite.
Mine's going to vary just a little bit. And as you know, it's a list of 3, so it's only going to vary a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, my least favorite would be Mass Effect 2. My second least favorite, or my second favorite, it's second place, is Mass Effect 3. And then my most favorite would be Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 being my introduction to the series. and I believe having the strongest story of the series as well. So
yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I think the reason why I like Mass Effect 3 the most is that it has the best mix of gameplay and story. Unfortunately, it has the weakest ending of a story, but the journey up until that journey that ends literally
ends with you a good journey that ends with you jumping off a cliff.
It ends like basically you took a really great car trip through America, and the journey, that trip ends with you saying, "I don't like this," and then you take a bus and go back home. Okay, Fitz, what are your so that wraps up Mass Effect 3. I'm going to talk a little bit about our hopes and dreams of Mass Effect Andromeda. So, Fitz, what are your hopes and dreams for Mass Effect Andromeda?
My biggest hope for Mass Effect Andromeda is that we can choose our race in the game, kind of going on Dragon Age Origins. Because, I really enjoyed like being able to, I can be a dwarf, I can be an elf, I can be a human. And this, I don't know if they're going to choose Krogan as a playable race, but
I
hope so too. But you could choose Krogan, you can choose Torian, and you could choose Asari. You can choose, I hope you can choose any race. That's what I hope.
Actually, now that you mentioned dwarf, I really hope you can be a space dwarf.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that actually would be great. Like, let's just start mix and matching all of BioWare's RPGs.
Well, there actually is a Dragon Age reference in the Mass Effect series. If you scan like a planet, and it's just like, oh, a planet full of primitive people fighting like Darkspawn or something. Like,
yeah, I know. If you have one of the versions of Mass Effect, it's either 2 or 3. You can actually get Dragon Age armor.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think I had that Dragon Age armor. Yeah.
But no, I like this idea of basically you become a shotgun wielding dwarf.
I'll be good. I think that would just turn into Warhammer then.
Warhammer or Borderlands.
But yeah, that's my biggest thing. Another would be a huge focus on exploration, which I think that's the way they're going. Yeah, just so you're the one finding all these new worlds. You're the one finding new races. You're the one finding like new conflicts, new politics, new technologies. I want this to be Star Trek.
That would be awesome, actually.
Yeah, me not being that big of a Star Trek fan, I like some of the movies, but yeah, I want it to be like Star Trek. That would be my hopes and dreams.
So, what do you hope there are some things that they're going to avoid in Mass Effect Andromeda?
Let's see. Some things I would hope they would avoid. I would hope they would avoid the structure of Mass Effect 2, where it's all side quests and no plot. And I would hope they would avoid the ending of Mass Effect 3. Okay, what about you, Russell? What's your hopes and dreams?
Well, you said I hope that there's a huge focus on exploration. It's one of my biggest letdowns about the first Mass Effect is that exploration is completely pointless.
It is, absolutely.
It's really just there to waste time, but you do the same maps over and over again, but with different flavors. And I hope that it's just you get an even bigger sense of the world.
The galaxy.
Mass Effect Andromeda. The world of the story, the galaxy in the game, because it takes place in the Andromeda Galaxy, which, as Fitz and I were discussing a couple of days ago, that's very far away.
Very far away.
Far. Some of the units that they were using to describe how far away it was, neither one of us had heard of before, because it's far. But I hope that exploration, and then you get a bigger sense of the Mass Effect relays, just to find out how far back they go, and you get kind of more into the extent of like how other species have dealt with the Reapers and have suffered from the Reapers.
Well, yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Like, what I think is going to happen is they're going to find a relay they haven't seen before, and it's going to be tasked with you to go through it and see where it takes you. And Andromeda is where it's going to take you. I think that's what's going to happen, but we'll see.
Apparently, though, the Mako is coming back. I hope they, make that fun to drive.
Yeah, let's see. The Mako was not very fun to drive in the first one. And the second one, it became very different and usable, but pointless because you only drove it for missions.
Yeah, and I think it also flew a little bit.
Yeah. It's like a hover thing.
Yeah, it was instead of it being the Mako, it was basically just a hovercraft.
Well, yeah.
Which still boring. Believe it or not, they made hovercraft boring. And Mass Effect 2.
Well, yeah.
That's not
a good sign at all. Gaming news. That's what our next segment is going to be about. Russell, what is your gaming news today?
So my gaming news is pretty local. I ran into a fun issue today. I was downloading the Division beta for PS4, and I ran into the issue where I ran out of space on my PS4. I only have a 500 gigabyte hard drive, which is a good amount of space, but apparently not for PS4 games. So it just kind of got me thinking about like the future of gaming and the fact that it's gotten pretty complicated within the last 15 years. So it's just kind of something I want people to think about is the fact that gaming does get more and more complicated, and you know, what's the longevity of these systems? The fact that I've only owned a PS4 for about a year, and I'm already filled up. I have like 5 or 6 games, and already I filled up a 500 gigabyte hard drive. So that's just something I want people to think about is like the complexity of games, and you know, kind of, you know, to have people take a look back of like where we've progressed from the PlayStation and the N64 to the PS4 and the Xbox One.
You mean the Atari and the Odyssey to...
In my lifetime, I started out with a PlayStation because I'm not old. Well, I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Yeah, the Atari and Odyssey. If you've played that, you're old.
Yeah, well, it's also, you know, that is a Fitz brings up a good point. It's just in the last 30 years,
we've gone from a couple of bits to what we have today. Like,
yeah, we've gone from 16 bits to you know thousands of pixels and 32-bit systems and the 64-bit systems. And just how the complexity of it just gets more and more complex, and it's absolutely amazing from an evolutionary standpoint.
Yeah, my gaming news: the Smite, the MOBA sensation, is coming to PS4. I'm not really that into MOBA, so I'm not that excited. But some of you might be into MOBAs.
Isn't that a type of food?
MOBA? No. I mean, it might be a type of food, but this stands for a gaming genre, multiplayer online battle arena, like League of Legends and Dota. Yeah.
Okay.
I personally enjoy Smite. I was part of the beta for that. I didn't play it after the beta, but you know, I enjoyed it. Once again, I don't, as a person who doesn't really like MOBAs, I thought it was pretty good. I think it's pretty cool. Like, you can be all these different gods, like Thor, Isis. I don't know if he actually be Isis, but you know, you can be Greek gods, Egyptian gods, Hindu gods.
Yeah, so they have Athena. They have an Athena cosplay kit.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, Smite's coming to PS4. Is it going to be free? I hope it's going to be free. I don't know. I don't know the prices. I don't know a lot of things. But Smite's coming to PS4, guys. Get excited.
Cool. All right. So this concludes our Mass Effect trilogy. Join us next week. We're going to talk about
Gauntlet. Woo! We're going to be talking about the new Gauntlet, not the old Gauntlet.
Yeah, Gauntlet. I believe it's Enhanced Edition for the PS4. If you haven't tried that one, go ahead. If you haven't played any of the Mass Effects and would like to try them out, I highly recommend
Absolutely
doing
that. Do it. You will not regret it.
Definitely, even though the ending is terrible, it's definitely worth the journey.
Yeah. Okay, you can find us at the Crunchy Duck Game on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, the Crunchy Duck Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube. Our channel name is Crunchy Duck. I repeat, Crunchy Duck. Yeah. Bye. Dun 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 dun.